Thank you everyone for joining us for another monthly InfoPulse. I'm Jackie, your host of our InfoPulse webinar series, and today we have special guest Brandi Couse with us. Brandi is the co-owner and CEO of MashedGrape Technologies. She's based here locally in Southwest Florida, and she provides enterprise-level IT support and security to businesses of all sizes across the nation. Prior to this position, she worked at the Alliance for the Arts for 7 years, serving as education director and eventually assistant director. And Brandi joined the Alliance after a 17-year career as a public school music teacher across 3 Florida counties. Brandi's goal at MashedGrape Technologies is to ensure that businesses of any size have access to the technological tools, support, and security to help them run efficiently, work securely, and grow strategically through their technology. Brandi's passions outside of work include spending time with her 20 boys, kayaking, hiking, camping, birding, reading, writing, playing the banjo, and creating visual art. So welcome, Brandi, and thank you for joining us. So how does a business know what's the right IT support for them?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I always love chatting IT with you, Jackie. It's always a good time. So thank you. I'm excited to be here. So perfect question. How does a business choose the right IT? And a very good question, because so many small and especially startup businesses and even medium-sized businesses, they know they need IT. They're not exactly sure what they need and where they can go to get it. So I'm going to break this down in 3 kind of parts. The first is hire a professional, not your, it's so easy for us to, as business owners, to think, well, maybe I'll save a little money because I have some employees who are tech savvy, or I have a niece who's learning about IT in school, and I'll just utilize that. But there are incredible risks in trying to do that without a professional. The first is not having a professional, using one of your employees. They lack the experience and the knowledge that an IT professional has, and you really want that experience and knowledge for your business. And often security is overlooked or not managed very well when you're trying to do it with, just an employee or a friend. And it's very inefficient to have your staff stop doing their job to start doing an IT job. And it's inefficient to have to wait for somebody who's doing you a favor until they're ready to fix your problems when you need something right away. And when you use something like a friend or your employees, you're increasing your risk and your liability if something does go wrong. So it's really best just to find and hire a professional. So that's number 1. So once you've made the decision that, okay, you're ready to hire a professional, which type of IT provider is best? So I'm going to go through the 3 major types of, or basic types of IT providers, and they kind of follow the progression of IT through history. So the first type is break fix. What that means is that you don't really have IT, but when something breaks, you have somebody you call. They come in and fix it, and then they go away. And you keep going, and then when it breaks, you call, and you keep going this back and forth cycle. That is really a poor business choice for 2 main reasons, for several reasons, but 2 main reasons. The first is that's reactive. You're always just reacting to problems. And we business owners know that if we have any process in our business where we're just constantly reacting, then we're always on our heels and we can't scale and grow because we're always reacting. Also, with this reactive posture, that IT that you call, they don't know your systems. They don't know how you operate. So they're going to take longer to solve your problem because they first have to figure out how you do things before they can diagnose what's wrong and then find a solution. And the big part of reactivity that scares me the most is the lack of security. Not having proactive security is like waiting until the bad guy is in your house with a weapon, demanding that you give him all of your money. So you're responding to an attack rather than proactively looking out and mitigating threats. So that reactivity is just not a good business decision. The second way it's not really good for businesses is the goals between your business and that IT provider are not aligned. When you're working, when you're going smoothly, that IT provider is making no money. It's only when you're broken that that IT company starts to make money. And I'm not suggesting that anyone's out there going, ooh, I hope they break so I can get some money. But it's a simple fact that when you're good, they're not. When they're good, it's because you're not. So break fix is just not the best solution. I understand it may seem like it's less expensive, which is why many businesses want to go for that. But in the long run, it can be incredibly more expensive to go that route. So the second type of IT provider is called a managed service provider, or MSP. So an MSP is proactively managing and monitoring and securing your environment. So that's great. You've solved the reactivity problem. But with an MSP, with most MSPs, while you pay them monthly for that managing and monitoring and security, you pay them extra anytime you need them. When you call for support, you pay hourly. When you have an essential business thing that needs to be done, you pay them for that. You pay them for that. So your goals still really aren't aligned with that MSP that is charging you for every little thing, because while they're making some MRR, monthly recurring revenue, their real bread and butter is in all of those other essential things you need that you're going to have to pay extra for. And I will say there are some MSPs out there who say, oh, support is included. Oh, it's included. But the devil's really in the details of what is out of scope. That means anything that you're going to have to pay extra for. So you may not pay when you call to get your password reset or your printer reconnected or to fix a software that's not working properly. But there are a lot of other essential business things that you need that you may pay for extra, such as, oh, you have a new employee and you need that employee set up on a computer with all the different software and logins. Oh, that's a project, so you pay more for that. Or you want to migrate from Google to Microsoft or vice versa. That's a project, so you pay more for that. Or you want to implement new software. So all of these little things can be out of scope. And since that's their bread and butter, you're still got a lack of goal alignment. If they come to you and say, you need to upgrade XYZ, are they saying that because you really need it? Or are they saying that because that's where they actually make their money? So the third type of an IT provider is called a managed IT department, MID. Now, they still go by the same overall name, MSP, but the difference is the managed IT department gives you everything you would get if you hired your own employees. So you've got the proactive security, support, monitoring, but then you also have this goal alignment where nothing is out of scope. You don't pay for anything else. Just like if you had your own employees, you would not pay them extra to do their job. What this we see results in is that businesses then utilize that provider more for things like strategic planning, for future planning, for implementing. So it really provides you, a managed IT department provides with everything you would get if you hired your own employees without having to pay, of course, their payroll and HR and Social Security, etc. So you get the benefits of all that expertise, all of that work with no additional charge. So a true MID, the only thing you will ever pay extra for is hardware you buy or software you buy, just like you would your own employees. So in my estimation, going with a managed IT department that includes everything for you is the best for a business. Proactive, protective, security, and your goals are absolutely aligned. And you have this trusted partner to help you make the big decisions, to help you navigate through the complexities of technology. So the third part I would say in selecting the correct IT is budget and plan. I've noticed there are lots of businesses that don't budget for their IT, but it's time we realize that IT is one of the 3 essentials that every business needs. So along with financial and along with legal, IT should be the other. So if you don't yet have a budget, it's time to begin to put that budget in, because technology is not going away. It's only going to become more ubiquitous. So it's time to plan for that. I've had people ask me, how much should I budget? What should I do? How should I do this? So the average IT budget for small and medium businesses making under 50 million in annual revenue is 4% of their revenue. The National Small Business Association says that small businesses spend an average of $83,000 a year on technology and cybersecurity. When I tell local business owners that, they are like aghast. They're like, oh my gosh, that is so much. And so I ran the numbers. That 83,000 is a company that has about 2 million in annual revenue. So what you do is you take your business's annual revenue and then figure out what the 4% is. And that's a nice starting point. Now, of course, different industries might require a little more. If you're in an industry that has really high compliance requirements, then you're going to have more cybersecurity and more compliance types of programs. And so that budget might go up a little bit. Also, if your business, you look at your infrastructure and you see that you have devices, machines, or software that is about to go out of date, you're going to want to replace that. So those are times when, it might go a little above the 4%, but 4% is a good starting point to look at your business, your revenue, and say, okay, this is what I should plan to budget for my IT. So in selecting the right IT, I would say get a professional. I think managed IT department is the best, but if you're not there yet, then go into your budgeting and try to budget and plan for that in the future.
When businesses are looking to hire somebody for this specifically, what would you recommend them asking when they're going through that first initial process and selection?
Some of the questions to ask is, what type of industries do they support? What type of security posture do they feel? Do they feel like the security posture should be very forward, very tight, or are they like, we can fudge on a couple of things, we can let go? Another big one to ask is, what is out of scope? So say, hey, you've offered me this product. What is out of scope? What will I actually pay more for if I go with your services?
Perfect. I think that's very helpful. And after, they've done all the initial work and they've done the initial interviewing process or discovery process and they budgeted, they plan, whenever they make that selection, how does this fit into their long-term growth or their goals?
So when you have a good IT department, they should be continually in communication with you about what are your pain points, what are your struggles, what are your plans, what are your dreams, because then that IT professional, they can work with you to figure out, how does IT fit into this? What are some software programs or some pieces of technology that can make this work better, make this work faster? What will actually work? Sometimes we run into situations where a client might go out and purchase a new piece of software. They haven't talked with us about it. They bring it back and they're like, okay, let's implement this. And we discover that what they purchased is not even compatible with their network, with what they have. So making sure that you utilize your IT provider as a strategic partner in all of your future goals, include them, and especially in your dreams. We've got sometimes clients will say, oh, I really would like to be able to do this, add this new product line or excel in this area, but I'm not really sure what to do. That's where your IT provider can come in and say, excellent, great dreams. Here are some things that can be very beneficial. Here are some things that are time savers, more efficient, or help you. Oh, here's a new idea to help kind of even spur that inspiration further.
Yeah, and that would go into helping whenever they have the right IT help to help make those recommendations. That would be helpful in streamlining their processes, right?
Absolutely. Streamlining and securing business are two of the pillars of what your IT provider should be doing. That streamline, part of it just has to do with support, making sure that you are not wasting time Googling how to fix something or what's wrong, that you just have your trusted person that you can call right away. So that's one streamline. Another part of streamlining is general processes. There are a lot of processes that businesses do that your IT provider can help you streamline. One of the simplest to think about is a new employee. You get a new employee, you may need a new computer, new device. You're definitely going to need that new employee set up on all of your different software programs and file sharing and all of the different elements of your business. So a good IT provider can turn an arduous process that might take you hours or days into just a few minutes on your end, because they've worked with you to discover, how do you want things set up? What departments get different access? What people get different access? What permissions? So they work with you before you even hire the employee to figure that out. You just let them know that you're hiring a new employee. 1 minute it takes you to do that, and then they take care of the rest on the back. We have found that new employees are one of the biggest ways and easiest ways that businesses are like, oh my gosh, you've made that so much easier for me. It used to take me 2 weeks to get somebody set up and onboarded, and now it's like 48 hours and they can start working. So that's an idea of some general. Another general that IT companies can help you streamline is with vendor management. Nobody wants to be on the phone with Comcast. Nobody wants to be on the phone with the software vendor because something's not working right. If you have a managed IT department, it's their job to be on the phone to do that for you. That's an incredible streamline. So those are some general. Your business is going to be specific. You're going to have different specific things that you want and need, and even compliance. So remember to think of your IT as your strategic partner. Your IT should be in continuous contact with you, discovering, as I said before, those pain points, those frustrations, those dreams, so that they are just walking alongside of you the whole time, just helping find out and fix. Find out what's not going well, what's a frustration, or what could be better, and provide you solutions for that. So streamlining can be all kinds of general stuff, but then also very specific to your business. That's why it's good to have a strategic partner in the IT space.
Yeah, absolutely. And outside of any general processes, what about any specific processes or specific examples that you've helped with a company or even in your own experience?
Excellent. I mentioned that employee onboarding, it almost surprised me to find out that bringing on new employees was one of the biggest frustrations for business owners. We had a client who it's locally owned and based, but has remote workers all over the country. And one thing the client was doing was whenever they hired somebody new, 2 weeks to be able to get that person up and running, because they would purchase a device, an all-in-one computer. They would spend the time setting up all of the software and all of the logins and all of the permission levels and administrative type duties. And then they would put this great big thing in a box and mail it to the end user. Incredibly time consuming and incredibly expensive to mail that, and took 2 weeks before everything was set up. So we worked with them to provide a cloud solution so that we have all of their setup that's needed for all of their different departments and different softwares and permissions and approval levels. We have that. We have small cloud devices that we can spin up with all of that and mail out and get it to the end employee within 48 hours of the employee being hired. So it went from 2 full weeks hire to being able to work to 48 hours. The client was so excited. She kept saying, I have been wanting to grow, but this adding employees is such an arduous process that I haven't been able to scale the way I want to. And that solution, and I think she's added 20 employees since that happened, just like boom, 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 just keeps adding.
That is an incredible story. And it's definitely a great feeling when you get all of that time back.
Yes, right? And without the stress of, has it been set up properly? Did I forget something? Did I not forget something? When your IT company has the complete process for you and just takes care of it.
Can you talk a little bit about the processes you helped implement to save that amount of time?
Many of those are just so very specific to the industry. And we work with industries all the way from our auto mechanic is a client, all the way to financial, banks, wealth advisors, medical. So one thing that we really enjoy doing is learning about our client's business, learning about what they're doing, what their processes are, what they want to do, and then tailoring exactly what they need for their business. We have a medical chiropractor who's a client, and one of the struggles they had was when their technicians would move from one room to another room to another room, logging into the computer, using the wrong login, not getting where they wanted to be. So we streamlined with setting up universal logins, or unique logins for each individual. So it doesn't matter what device they go to, in what room, in what space, what office, they can log in as themselves unique and have everything they need and they're used to right there, as opposed to they were sharing logins and passwords and logging into others' computer, and then they don't have, that computer doesn't have, what they need. This one thing streamlined everything so well for them, and it helped secure their environment so that people weren't logging in as somebody else, and then you can't kind of track who's doing what if something goes wrong or if something goes right. So that was one unique thing to that medical office that really helped them be able to function, streamline, and more securely.
Yeah, and talking about security and sharing logins, because that is very common. Can you expand on any other common issues you found whenever you're helping businesses implement the help and streamlining and different applications to utilize?
Yeah, I'm just writing that down so I don't lose my thought. Common issues. Yes, sharing logins, sharing passwords, logging in as one another is one of the biggest. And I think a lot of it comes down to people think it's more convenient and or they don't know that there's a different way to do it. But there's an incredibly easy way to set that up so that you log in only as yourself, you log in, with your stuff and get your stuff. What are some other common issues we see? People keeping passwords on a piece of paper or on an Excel spreadsheet. Password managers are inexpensive and they are just a gift to, I hate passwords. And I hate password managers. And we found one that I feel is fantastic. And it is just such a gift. It makes logging in so much easier. And that's an efficiency thing as well. When it's really easy for you to log into the 52 different programs you have to log into, having a password manager that you just click the button and it takes care of it for you is wonderful. Okay, so passwords, that logging in as one another is just a really difficult, because it does not allow you to track who's doing what and where things go wrong. So other common issues, sprawl, technology sprawl and shadow IT. Employees who they find, ooh, this is a really cool software, or this is a really neat free AI thing, and just adding and adding and adding into your network all of these different programs that have not been vetted. Who knows if they're secure, who's tracking them. So shadow IT, the adding of extra stuff, because employees want to be efficient. They want the tools that will help them do a better job. But having an IT company that can help you vet those is a much more secure posture and helps you eliminate this kind of sheet flood of all of the different programs you might have hanging out there that the business owner doesn't even know about.
And that brings up a good point as well. Whenever you have employees trying out different softwares, it could become a compliance issue as well. Maybe share an example of how you've helped a company with a compliance issue or help them implement strategies for compliancy.
Yes, we have, many of our clients, just like I think many business owners and employees, are really excited about LLM AI, large language model AI. I did something really cool with Copilot yesterday that I'm just so excited about. I don't need to share it because it's personal about kids' college, but I was just wowed, and I understand why people want to use these tools. It's very, very important, though, for a business to make sure that the tools they're using is secure and that their employees know how to use those AI tools securely, to not enter proprietary information, to not enter personally identifiable information into an open AI, because that's just giving it to the whole world. That's just putting it out there. So we have clients who come to us and say, oh, I'd really like AI for this. Now, we at MashedGrape, we don't create customized AI, but we can help the client vet the different AI pieces that they are interested in so that we can make sure that those are compliant, that they're secure, that they'll actually do what the employee or business owner wants to. And we also have incredibly good strategic partners ourselves, like Infoflex, who, when a client comes to us and says, oh, we'd like such and such, and there doesn't seem to be something out there that's perfect for them, we can say, oh, let me introduce you to Jackie at Infoflex, who her team might be able to develop something that is specific for you, that is also compliant with security.
And that goes back to, doing your own due diligence as a business owner too, and not making a rushed decision, because I'm sure you've had scenarios where that's happened and you've had to go back and readjust.
Yeah, we go in sometimes, we're like, oh, wait a minute, I know this is really cool, but it is not secure. So let's see if we can help you find something that does what you want, but doesn't, put your business at risk.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also turning, helping reframe how businesses think of IT rather than it being a cost, where now it's an investment and also too a solution rather than, they get into, like you were saying, either a software hop or they end up having 50 different technologies that they don't even know how to use and it doesn't even pertain to them. And this has been, really insightful and really educational. I've been making notes myself. So did you want to go over anything else before final thoughts or final takeaways?
The biggest is just security. Technology is ubiquitous. There's very few, if any, businesses that can work now without using technology. And unfortunately, cybercrime is also ubiquitous. So I'm not saying this to scare anybody, but just to say we know what's out there and we can protect. We should protect ourselves from what's out there. And there are a lot of different ways to do that with multiple layers of security. But the biggest thing is find a professional. Find a professional IT company that can help you do that, because securing those assets you've worked for, your entire business career, that is a tantamount thing. You gotta protect yourself.
And if anyone is looking to have that discussion, how would they reach out to you to continue that?
Okay, they can reach MashedGrape Technologies at the email solutions@mashedgrape.com, or they can give us a call at 239-990-3121.
Thank you so much, Brandi. It's been a pleasure having you. And thank you again for sharing all of this information and how you've been able to help businesses with this and also make recommendations and share how to even start in this process. So we'll be posting the recording on all of our social media. And again, you can reach Brandi at MashedGrapeTechnology.com, her LinkedIn, Facebook, and we will see you all next time. Thanks for joining us. It was great.
Thanks, Jackie. So much fun. Thank you.